It is a real thing to have awareness of this time thing up the top there, so you know when it's not recording. I think I was probably talking for like 3 minutes, not aware that I somehow bumped the screen and I was no longer recording. So just listen, this is a thing. I was going to do this to start a recording. I thought, no, it's not as good taste. But this plane, the turbulence of this jet engine, that is a lot of disturbance energy, you know. That's a lot of turbulence energy that is sustaining, and we don't have to listen to that. It's having an effect on our hearing long term, and it has an effect on our nervous system and our endocrine system. That sound makes us produce adrenaline and cortisol. When you hear that kind of sound, and you're out and you haven't heard any sound of civilization for like 3 weeks, and you hear that sound. I grew up next to army barracks, in the flight path between the army barracks and the air base and the exercise area, so I know the difference between fighter jets and every other jet, and I know the difference when they're in when they mean business. The sound produces adrenaline and cortisol, and I would wager that every single human being is being affected like this by that sound. So there's a bit of an artistic contrast for you. This ground here, ironically, I imprinted into it. I didn't walk softly enough. I put all my weight plus the extra weight of that crate into my big toe, planting into the ground, pointing and planting into the ground, and I feel like I got a bit of a decent cut. Still feels like I've been stung, you know, so there's a decent cut, sideways incision. So that's the point that stopped me and then brought me back. That had an effect on the nervous system and the endocrine system as well, and connection with the dogs. So vasopressin and endorphins of all kinds, the enkephalins, oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, and all the rest, all the time. And then so I noticed that this was more beautiful, and I was looking at the minutiae or the microcosmos here, because there was a screw right there, and see there's still that piece of plastic that I left there. See? Oh, buddy. And then see this fella's in here straight away, so got to deal with that. You're such a lovely little fella, aren't you? In between this episode, when I realised it wasn't filming, then I realised the time and where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing and who I need to talk to and how that engagement's supposed to happen and where I'm really at and realistically how long it would take to get there. And so you got this headache coming back in. But then it's clearing again now, so dressing it. So see this ground? It might be a bus graveyard, which I had so much inspiration found. I found this ground to be so healing and settling, even though there's a lot of dark spirits and shit here. There was a lot of darkness here when I came here. For quite a while. Maybe there still is, and I'm just not so sensitive to it, or weighed down. There certainly is that with the energy. Like, I was sort of feeling quite clear actually, and then I pulled that stuff out and I shook it off and did some qigong to clear it, and then active meditation clearing it off me. Felt the awareness of my escort. So that was one thing. I always feel that when someone's like focusing, and then so I felt that here rising up, and then I felt all that from all that shit in here, all that stuff. What the fuck is it? Like, that's just insanity. And see, that headache I'm saying I took on is, I woke up with it, and the dream I had 24 hours earlier showed me that I was in a state I had achieved. I was resonating and living at a particular level as a spirit in a human being body and life. So I was in a good place. I'd achieved something. Then 24 hours later, I woke up with this headache. Didn't know whether, but it was more than a headache. I didn't know whether I was Arthur Martha, coming, going, already been, or somewhere else. I was like here, but like in 3 other places, and none of them made sense. And then here was just noise. So then there was this pull to some other distortion thing, and that's the point where I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And that's when, so I'm eating. This is what I'm doing. I'm eating, and I'm not having this noise that you're bringing to me. Okay, just let me get stuff sorted, because I was just in this time. So we sat and we ate, and then he wanted to talk. I'm like, no, talking nothing. No, like raga. And so we did raga, and then this started to come out of me. I started to like channel something of this. Started to say things like, now's the time of clearing delusion in the world, I had noticed already that he was back in sync with me. He turned up at the right time. He wasn't disturbing, he wasn't out of whack, talking over the top of me and shit like that, not hearing what was said, in his own dream, running around in his own circles. I just noticed that bit. And then, he was in his heart as well. And it's a good thing, because he's already told me he had to say something, that he decided to. He didn't want to go and be a disturbance anymore somewhere else, and just do this madness that he was doing that was disturbing someone else and really imposing. Because, anyway. So, in that, I realised there's something come through me, which doesn't come through me like that very often. So I thought it was like because he was there, then it was something coming through there. Like, and I said, we recorded that actually. I might chuck that up in this. As I was saying, if you meditate and you focus your attention out here, then you can feel other people. And if you bring it out to 60 centimeters out in front of you, then you can feel the environment. And if you take it out like 3 meters, then you can feel the city, what's going on. And then if you expand it out, I suppose there's no real limit to how far you can expand it, but you can feel all major things going on the planet. Sadhguru taught me that. So I referred to that with him, and I said, like, you must have heard that. Because he's every piece of knowledge and wisdom and all that, he's already heard it. He knows it. It comes through. It's in there. If you mention anything at all, you mention it, oh yeah, he brightens up, and he's got a story to tell. And so you're just like, what the fuck is going on with you that you live like this? And he's got it embodied in his body. Like he can show me, he's like, oh Jimmy, you're so tight. Jimmy, you're so tight. What are you doing? He gives me this massage. Why are you like this? You look after yourself. You used to be so strong. Check this out. You need to be strong like this. And you go, excuse me. Yeah, I can be like this in the morning training fucking rock stars. I've got to where it counts. That's how I do it. See that? That's my qigong. Compress. Let it go. Sucking in deep. Didn't hear him, but Sonnet was doing this thing. He's going, wait. And then he's like, here, feel it. And then it's like, I could have broken a steel pipe or bent a steel pipe over his arm. It would have bent the pipe. But then he goes, and he shrinks back down. This little, like, what the fuck? Why would you shrink back to that? Like, stay like that? This is me. I just live like that all the time, you know. And this fella, he lives like this all the time. This is why I breed these particular kind of dogs. But I mean, have a good look at myself. I mean, I'm pretty fucking fragile at the moment now. Man, my guts, I don't know what's going on. Just purging, clearing my liver, purging, clearing. You know, like even if it just takes 6 hours before you have your breakfast, then you might find that you do 3 extra shits. So then you feel like having your breakfast, but then you end up not having your breakfast till 4 o'clock the next afternoon. And it's in the right weather, it's just sitting there, not really fermenting, but just culturing a little bit more. That's if it's oats, like a porridge oats. And don't overcook it too much, don't kill all the cooks. And then when you eat it, you realise you don't really need very much food to have your nutritional needs met. The rest of it is, wow, what is it? And where is it? You know, how much you actually turning into body, and then how much you're excreting, and where's the rest of it? See this plane coming in, watch my voice disappear. It could be flying over the ocean. You know, the average Western stool is 160 grams, and the average African stool is 400 grams. So what does that tell you? Westerners are full of shit. Now, I don't use this stuff. I find it to be inefficient and abrasive. You can get these wipes from Aldi. They're skin cleansing wipes. I use them for massage. Sensitive skin ones, makeup removing. They seem to work, and I've never had any issues using them since 2010 or something, on massage chairs and massage tables. You know, so on leather and vinyl, you know, so people see it wipes clean, takes the makeup off, people, oh, I took the makeup off, must be good. Yeah, so you get them and you tear them, right? Straight down the middle, there's a fold, turn it the other way, and there's a seam. Go, whoop, and that's it. You get one nice clean tear easily, otherwise you mess around, you know, tear strips. So you get that, and then that gives you 2 pieces of a wet wipe that you can put down the toilet. And you can put it down the toilet. I mean, I got the toilet. I look at the way I live. That drum over there is my toilet compost. Do you want to see it? So yeah, you can put it down the toilet. So putting the other ones in, do biodegrade. A little bit longer, but they break down. Anyway, if I get a chance to be traveling anywhere, normally I always have some in my pocket. I don't have any in my pocket now. Normally there's always wipes in my jacket pocket. I probably have a dry set up here actually, you know, and then boiling water is the other first world thing. Again, I got this good Stanley thermos that holds 2 litres of water, almost boiling, like hot for a cup of tea 24 hours later. Ice in the summer for this overheating, induction, plaque, hypertension, swelling in the brain thing, which was that headache I feel like I just got. I just unwound it, let it go by having to surrender to the fact I can't fucking deal with this shit right now. Even though I'm trying to, even the weather's telling me not, I'm still trying to. Then that pushes me through a process of getting a good look at myself, understanding where I'm at, and the quantum physics of even just having a look at it is the whole meditation, liberation, consciousness thing anyway that brings you to enlightenment, nirvana kind of thing. That's how you get there, by being aware and having a look at yourself. And then it's already changed by default in that. And then the activity that needs to... So what I'm saying is, like, there's all this stuff scattered everywhere here, right? How's that for contrast? Oh, you can't see the colour. Then I've looked at that, taken that in. That's had an effect on my mind, which is mostly outside of my body. Why am I holding some piece of rubbish toilet paper I don't even fucking use? For the only guest that comes around here who brings her own toilet paper anyway. See, this is fuzzy. Oh, money palm home. Budam saranam gachami, daram saranam gachami, sanam saranam gachami, puna puna saranam gachami. Praise divine, grace sublime, love divine, truth sublime. 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 Still got some of it on me. Fucking hell. Okay, so what I'm saying there is dealing with that shit. It clears the mind, it clears the spirit, and as you can see, it's got an effect on my spirit. That thing I just did, you know, see how I said praise divine, praise, I said it 3 times, but it's to sing it with that tone. That praise divine, praise divine. It could be even higher than that if you could sing better, but I've got the harmonics in my mind connects to it. There's something in it. Right, so Hib left it with us. He's a guy whose birth was foretold. Vibrant celestial meditation. If you do that 3 times with those tones, you see it's the highest. You're subscribing, asking, and drawing in, connecting to the highest and purest source of good in the universe. Which means that you're not getting interfered with, tricked by anything less than that. Which is all one anyway, so what's the matter? But you know, like, the unseen world is a bit of a place for this experiential shit that you got to deal with. It's a lot more, and I still got to clear, you know, like, I got to do my thing. I'm feeling a hell of a lot better today, so I got to do some movement. I just felt that, like, see that there, I haven't been able to clear that. That's been stuck with me. So there's the day, there's the weather, things have changed, whatever's going on, solar activity, induction currents, the whole deal. And then there's this process that I'm going through. That, like, I'm kind of well aware that no one's watching this, and that's good, because it's kind of like, fuck. But I'm treating it as though like 300,000 people are watching it right now, and then another 600,000 people are going to watch it later today. Because I am you, and you are me. And I have had this thing, which is, I'd rather die than live in this society, live another day in this society as it is. And what that means is that I have to live to make this place a better place. Seeing that in there? Yeah. This is a great bus. This was the thing of, like, realising I lost that inspiration. And the other thing I want to say is, like, next door neighbour, I had a memory of here, like losing inspirations down there, looking into that minute thing. See, this is a thing. This is one thing that's left unsaid now, untied out of my digressions, I do believe. So if I was to finish this video and not have said this, but have digressed to something where I was going to say this, then the audience probably wouldn't pick up on it, but it would have an effect in my mind. Something like that bloody crossword puzzle that you did when you just had a little bit of time and just waited and you saw it there, so you just did it, and you realized you're already doing it by the time you started doing it, so oh, bugger it, I'll do it, and then like you focus on it, boom boom boom, and it's actually all done. There's only 2 words that you haven't got done before your appointment, and so you leave the waiting room, then obviously you go back to your crossword puzzle after the meeting and all that, and it plays on your mind. What is that word? What is that word? Well, it has that kind of effect on me these days, but probably about 20 times worse than that. Maybe even worse, maybe 200 times worse, because it's actually a thing, and it sort of locks in, something in there, like a little nodule in there, about that far in, and that's a dysfunction. It brings dysfunction, stress, dysfunction, that I can't fucking do it. And you see the weight that is here. Also, I've got to keep reminding myself that this is me purging the liver phlegm from that cyst that is encapsulated, that came from very clearly a poisoning that I did to myself, and then was just so shockingly worsened by whatever else they gave me. And they made me really sick physically, and then I don't know if there's some kind of encapsulated emotion that I'm really fucked off about that. So you don't really know. So that's it's either way. Is to accept it and be dealt with. There is something there, because I'm feeling it as I'm going through. I'm feeling my body and feeling my spirit outside my body and feeling my chakras and in the lower body. And so whatever that is transmuted to love is what I've already done. So it means I'm clear and pure. But yeah, forgiveness and love and understanding to that event and those 2 people. I'm sure they had no intention to make me sick or no intention to hurt me. They just wanted a certain experience with me that they were not going to get with me consciously, because I am heterosexual, not gay, and not interested in exploring that, and clear. And I can feel that they didn't get what they wanted from that, and it made them feel really ick, and so they've never done anything like that ever again, and they had a good look at themselves. So if I could just let something go in my gut right there, which is not when my liver overlaps that, and then my head just sort of together, from releasing pressure deep inside in between my ears, closer to the right. This is me as a acupuncturist, massage therapist, plus all the rest. I'm a healer. I heal people. I heal myself of anything, anytime, anywhere, except for this. I'm just coming to realize this headache and this feeling in my body is this fucking cyst turning from substantial phlegm into insubstantial phlegm and moving around my body and moving around my energy field outside my body, and then being turned back into substantial phlegm so it could be excreted out. I feel it coming out through my breath. I feel it coming out through my skin. I feel it coming out through my piss. And I had this discomfort last night that I didn't end up needing to take a shit, but every time I farted, I felt better. And then I had some ice cream, this lick ice cream, proper good ice cream. And it made me feel so much better. In a way that I was like, I can't really work that out. It's sort of just sugar metabolism here, like this, but it's real food as well. Like ice cream's an anti-food, but this was actually a food. And I see it now. I kind of knew it, and I see it. I dealt with it like it's phlegm, because it's all difficult syndromes or disorders you can't understand, and it's phlegm or heat or both. Quite often it's both, particularly in the West. And it is that for me. So I'm just acknowledging that now. And with that acknowledgement is awareness, which is, I come to realize, life force energy. And awareness can be expansive upon expansive upon expansive, monumentally, what's the word, exponentially multiplying by itself in scale and depth. Becoming aware of something means you think about that, and then that gives you a scale to expand out, and you become aware of the larger scale, and then the depth and complexities and structures and intrinsic factors that make it all wind together and work, and then there's something, oh wow, so you become quite expansive. In more awareness, and then as the next scale comes up, that's an exponential quantum leap in awareness of available life force energy to your consciousness, to your mind, and to your body, and to your spirit. I'm feeling it right now from my head, my fingers here, all the way to the top of my head, down to my toes, underneath my feet, around the back of my shoulders, up the top of my head. Awareness, similar scaling out. So let me just scale out from here, like what I was just talking about as nothing, just looking at the size of scales. So I'm going to scale out to here, and we scale out the awareness of the texture and contrast of the space even. Then it goes out to the other side of the park there where those trees are, and then the rays that far away in all directions in the landscape. And then scale out again. We're going to like the landscape of the sky. You can't help but see that I'm like looking at the whole planet now, almost. I'm looking at the curvature of just less than half of the planet in my mind. Okay, so I've now got some connection to all of that. That is something that is there that I can now play with on some Qigong thing that is something I could actually apply to. See how the phone's coming, like that is an energy there, nothing's going to stop that. I've actually got something here. Alright, so this is something that I've always had with my martial arts ability. Once I achieved a certain point, then I've always had this. But now I have, oh, I felt that from here. Oh, this little fella. When you're not getting, like, what do you want? You want me to mollycoddle you. Okay, so the trick of this now, what the whole point of doing this is to contain that energy and keep it. So it's contained here, as in I've got something here, and I remember that I'm connected to that scale of looking at just slightly less than half of the planet from that zoomed out level, experientially. So imagine an eagle being that high and seeing everything. Okay, so there, I just came back. There's something there, I can draw that in and bring it down to my little one here and just give it to him. See how he didn't feel it until I touched him? Because I was holding it back, but not holding it back. Holding it back by not bringing it. So when I was like, this turning of the hips and this hand here that's going closer to this windscreen fungi or lichen, I was not bringing it, so I was not holding it back, I was not bringing it. There's a vacuum space void in between, and that's where the power is. It's unstoppable. Lichen, did you know that lichen grows on whatever it's on. This is perspex, that's glass, that's paint, aluminium. This is a different material. Up there is different. And it secretes enzymes into whatever it's attached to and dissolves it into its basic molecular components so that the lichen can then eat from it. And if it can't get it from the glass, then it gets it from the atmosphere, I suppose. This was covered in lichen and then it's not liking it anymore. I would say possibly something to do with the sun. Can't prove me wrong with that one, can you? Because everything's to do with the sun. Otherwise there'd be nothing. And now check this out. So this is, it's probably worth 60 bucks. But if it's not for sale, it's worth 400 bucks. Most random thing in there, but worth keeping. So to walk away from this moment without having tied in that one final point would not be conducive to having a sharp mind to take on to the next engagement that I should have already been at now. Oh, that hard and sharp steel is... Oh, that's good. And see, I don't need to cleanse this thing. Oh, there's still a bit... I cleanse the steel. This is why steel has this thing of letting go, lungs letting go. Sword only looks so pure because blood washes so cleanly from its blade. Yeah. Ah, this is clear now. Well, not really. It's actually, I feel this heaviness. You know, I feel a fuzzy noise. Kind of the thing that... Which also I'm holding this mobile phone in my hand, which is transmitting as well. Remember to put your phone in flight mode if you're not using it. You don't need that radiation. We do not have the data on it to say whether it's harmless or not. It works for your psychic connection to everyone else, which is where we're going. No one's been left behind, so unity, get with it. That's why that big thing about the epiphany of realizing that people don't give a fuck was just such a striking thing for me. Because naturally we're all in it together, yeah. My bus was an arc 3 times, and then it was proven that you can't escape into isolated units. In any disaster, you need to be together. You need to work with whoever's around you to support them, to support yourself. Otherwise, they will be against you. And so will everyone else. And then you will be against them. And if you're against them, then you're against yourself. But if you're not accepting that in the meantime, then you're against yourself. And that's where I've been. So I'm less against myself. So, I come to peace, but about 50 minutes ago, standing there with my neighbour in a particular manner, because that was the point of remembering a few different things that, and this is what I'm doing when I'm standing here looking at shit. For like 20 minutes, I'm thinking, I'm reflecting, I'm understanding, I'm coming to terms. So the unusual activity that's witnessed from above is enough reason to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars following me around. I recommend every human being go and spend some time feeling the ground that they're on, following their thoughts as they reflect back, letting your thoughts unwind, and having your phone switched off or in flight mode so that you're not at risk of being interrupted by it, and see where those thoughts unravel to and what they unravel and how you feel afterwards. So the final one of my digressions to be tied in now. as far as I can remember, is the understanding of the neighbour's attitude. And he was very clear about his attitude. Whereas all these other people that I've had this great epiphany recently in relation to, they present as though they have an attitude like me and they care. They say things that I interpret as meaning that they care, as that's their natural way, particularly if they're Australian. And this guy, he's always been, he's never pretended to care about something that he hasn't cared about. And then when he's, like, I've sent people over there and he hasn't helped them, and I'm like, what, you sent this guy over there and you didn't help him? He goes, oh, you just, first he just wanted to get jumper leads to go and do something else and give someone else money. He had no thought of, we're running a business here, so that's a big thing. I'm like, yeah, okay, well, but it's like, when you generate that business, and but what I'd say, what he recognised is that this guy doesn't give a fuck. His mind's not in a place where he can give a fuck. And then this other dude, like, he's older, and he's old, like, I've had to work, I've restored the friendship, but I've come to this real peace of this thing, and I'm realising, I've restored this friendship with him. And it's sort of a shock thing, because I used to do heaps for my neighbours, particularly that one. And I didn't really get much back. But in that case, I did get something back. And you just get power and water from them, which I thought I was paying a lot more for than what I was. Like, I thought it was cheaper than what it was, and so I was paying good money. But either way, I would have been happy to pay. The money was fine. I don't think it was about the money. I think they just want this block of land and this other thing that I'm talking about. Like, he said things very straight up, like a harsher energy, like, let's not fuck around, got that. Yeah, I'm not pretending to be a nice guy kind of thing. I don't care about that. If you help one person today, then tomorrow you got 10 people coming, and you get nothing for it, and they interrupt you and take your time. People don't care. And there's all these other points that I recognise, like, there was one thing, like, there was a compressor that I left outside. Oh, it was something I borrowed from me. I think there was a compressor. I never used it. Oh no, I did use it, that's right. But instead of moving it from where it was, I built a shelter around it. So it was outside in the weather, technically. But it wasn't. It had a shelter around it. But it wasn't weatherproof. Actually, no, I don't think that was his compressor. I think he saw that, and there was something else. I don't know, there's something else of his I borrowed, and I never used it, and then I gave it back to him, and that was fine, but he saw the compressor. This one, he never said nothing, but I feel like he saw that compressor and thought that I was neglecting it. So he never lent me nothing after that. Another time he lent me the forklift. He used to lend me the forklift. But I had this fucking guy who was a friend who was, oh yeah, and he jumped on the fucking forklift and drove it and did this whole thing and was like real, like, what the fuck are you doing? And I should have, like, yelled at him. I told him to get off. I'm like, no, don't do that. And I dealt with it, but I should have dealt with it like a minute and a half earlier. And instantly. Not 30 seconds after, like fucking instantly. I should have, and I wouldn't do that from now on, like, I don't give a fuck, you see, like, there's a difference between being nice and being kind. So, right here, I was just reflecting back and coming to a point of understanding some things, so that I might go over there and say to him, oh, I'll see you when I see him on point. When we cross paths, and say it organically. This will be what I say. This is how I work. So now I've come to this point, like, the first thing I'll say is going, I was sitting on the ground looking at something, some tiny screw I picked up. And then I something and reflected about you from there, and then I've come to realise that maybe there's some things that you were trying to teach me that I didn't pick up on, and some things that you said pretty directly that I still didn't pick up on. And then there's one thing that you said directly that was this moment that I remembered while I was squatting down looking at the ground there, the dogs on me, that was something that I actually vowed from that moment. So this is the thing, like I go, that's not my problem, is the thing that he said. And the only reason that I'd said what I'd said for him to say, well, that's not my problem, was so that he could understand where I was at, and that shit was sort of going down, and like when shit happens, it all happens at once kind of thing. And you know, I have the best intentions, so there's absolutely no lack of good intent. There's only the best intentions ongoing. That's how I operate and how I think. So I'll just express my think. This is who I am, yeah? I don't have this other hidden shit that I didn't mention kind of thing. Because you notice people talk about fucking everything except for the cost. And like, well, I don't hide how much I fucking paid for something and how much I want to get paid for it. It's got this baobab. If I had the money to buy it, I'd be buying it for $7 a packet and selling it to people for $12 a packet. No fucking lies, no fucking nothing. It's a real interesting thing. But anyway, that's sort of tied into the thing about sharing all this information and expecting people to understand where you're at and expecting people to give a fuck. This is the big thing I couldn't understand. People don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about that kind of shit. So I didn't understand there, but now I've got this contrast that I can see how all these other people don't give a fuck about all these different kinds of things. And even things I do care about that I never cared about, I come to realise that I do care about it, then anything I care about, I really don't have fucking much energy anymore. Even as I saw my kids and my daughter's all stressed, I saw all these ideas about fucking all the stress, and I'm trying to reach it, but it sort of could get a bit tense, but it can't, because I don't actually have the fucking energy to give a fuck to it. This is how I give a fuck. I just, the universe hasn't killed me. I don't have the energy to give a fuck. And I'm stuck with it. So at the very least, I'm not forming plaque, right? By dealing with this shit in the mental realm. And coming to realise that is a box gum tree that I've never had the awareness that a box gum tree is growing here on this property. The resource of the eucalyptus, this is a healing gum tree. It's a healing eucalyptus tree. This will clear my fucking headache right now. I'll take this broken piece. Just like that. Fucking cleared my headache. Oh, thank fuck. Oh, thank fuck. Oh my god. Awareness. Fucking awareness. Awareness. Those leaves. Box. Gum tree. Oh my god. I can breathe better. I can see better. I feel better. I'm standing up straighter. I'm breathing deeper. My head and back of my neck is relaxed. Top of my head just cleared of all this. You watched it happen. I've been here taking sanctuary on this land and feeling this land today, going, oh God, I actually feel this land. I haven't been up the back here for a bit, and it's different up here. The grass is growing, there's tree roots, and I'm feeling it, and then I've not even realised. So how might my awareness now exponentially increase? Oh, thank fuck. Thank fuck. Oh my God. Fuck, the pressure and constriction underneath here is insane. Feeling it unravel now. Oh my goodness gracious me. Oh God. Fuck, thank fuck. God, I'm in serious discomfort because the stages of degradation I'm very quickly unwinding through now. Oh my God. Feel a lot better. I think that's it for me for smoking. I'm really over it. Ah. So I feel like the thing that was so out of place, like I kind of vowed to really have a problem with the next person who said, well, that's not my problem. Turns out it was like one of my closest friends who taken 2.5 years before I could go back to his place and have a conversation with him that he didn't really want to have, and then it finished with, that's not my problem. And then it's like the decision then was to be, and that's what this is about, this whole art thing. Decision then was like, okay, so then after that, it's like he didn't want to talk about anything. I couldn't say anything. Didn't matter what I was going to say, he didn't want to hear it. And he was going to go to bed. And it was like 8 o'clock at night, and I'm like, okay, so that's that then. And got a young kid and stuff, you know, so. And this is so like, well, am I going to get in my car now and drive back 3 hours? Or am I going to stay here and wake up tomorrow morning? Like, where are we at now, considering we haven't really resolved anything? That was only brought up because you wanted to bring it up, because you know there's something there, and I've just been accepting. We're not going to talk about it ever, but it's a thing. And then at that point, what I'm saying is the decision to then, when you said, well, do you want to stay? Well, stay, the bed's there, but it's like this tease, well, you want to stay, well, welcome to stay, the bed is there, it's made up for you, that's there, you know, so it's okay. In this moment, this is where we restore the friendship of things. Like, well, okay, so I choose to just let this go now, okay? You just let whatever go. But there can still be some kind of attitude thing there, so there's something to heal with that. But then with the guy next door, he was presenting something that turns out that all these other people have, and they're not aware of it. Whereas at least he's aware of it, and so that's actually a great gift in itself. Way of saying to recognize your integrity as a person, and then the things that might have come beforehand. You said quite a few different things and a few different times, and saw me in all different states of being, of stress, and definitely said things that I could have possibly picked up something, caught something, picked up on something, you know what I mean? And that's about as much as you can do. I mean, you can say things so people get you catch your drift, and if they don't, then you can sort of say things blatantly right there in front of them, to them, or to someone else about them, and they still don't hear you. So you can't really do much more than that. Certainly could have been feedback from people like that, though, about just saying straight up. I wrote a song, was it yesterday? No, day before, about you're not doing a service by not saying it. You're doing a disservice by not saying it. And then you have to deal with the fucking inconvenient person that you've now created a circumstance with, because you're not telling them that they really fucking agitate you and they go against your grind because of something you didn't tell them. Like, if you tell me that you like things to be this way, I don't ask you why you like things. I used to, but now I don't really have the will to care. I just have this acceptance of... I've explored all that shit so much, I don't really give a fuck why people do what they fucking do. Like, I've gotten that point. Like a gay person who's come to peace with their sexuality, they don't need to fucking go and do all the gay days fucking things and all that shit, you know? A bit like that. I've been through that. I've done that as far as exploring why do people do what they fucking do. And particularly the Divock period showed that too. But something that seems to be timeless is making ourselves the most important thing in the universe. And there's a lot that I could take from the steadfast, grounded, steady, slower demeanor that the wisdom and the age and the cultural understanding and the patience and acceptance that has come from that man. Because he did use to, I remember when the day of the fire, I was cleaning up this mess. I just finished cleaning up the fire mess, so he hadn't seen it on the footpath. And then we stood there for like half an hour. He told me all this story, how he come to have the wealth to do all this and all these, like, told me and looked me in the eyes in ways I'd never seen him like that before. And then I've seen that look in his eye a few times since. So that old man's there. What I'm saying is that there's something about, I actually said, like, I vowed, I said out loud something there, and he goes, well, that's not my problem. I said, I'm not saying it to say that it's your problem, just like going to understand this is why I'm at and where I'm at with it. And then I recognized now, I remember that I said I was doing all these things for him, and I recognized he doesn't really care about that. He didn't ask for it. And same as other neighbours, they didn't ask for this stuff. They know the value of it, but they didn't ask for it. Or they didn't ask for the extra above and beyond service. So, and we didn't agree on the price. I'm thinking, obviously this is a $50 an hour job. No, it turns out they normally pay people $20 an hour. Yeah, but fucking, what? I didn't agree with it. Anyway, these are the things where you work out what you got, and you keep it simple and clear and straight up. There's a lesson to learn from it. But he was showing me something about the world that I didn't see, and I've only just 2 weeks ago come to fucking realise it. Oh my god, no wonder I've got no fucking money, no wonder I can't deal with this dysfunctional mess. Tied in with that is coming to peace with the fact, like just remembering the old fella who owns all these buses and all the stuff we tried to do. This bus here is the only one in the world. And I said, I'm just going to buy this one off you and give it to this dude because he helped me with my bus. Because that's the only one in the world. It's a special story to it. Should be a double-decker, but it's been changed. And it's 300mm longer than the chassis with special permits. It's all special, all detailed stuff. So just coming to peace with this is the way things are. And the way things are, they're degrading here. This is opportunity that I thought, yeah, I can do something with, but then couldn't do anything, didn't want to budge on it, nothing happened and staying. But at least it's given me some sanctuary, yeah? Which, like, because of his demeanour in the past, which I've come to peace with him, he's good. I know, like, he wants to buy this land. He always has since we come here. And he's asking me about it. Not like I get fucking thing. I got a clear thing on my birthday a couple of weeks ago. I'm not wasting my fucking time talking to him because... But what I got from that half an hour conversation, like a 28-minute conversation, is that if he gets this fucking piece of land, then I'll be gone. He'll kick me out. That'll be the first fucking thing he'll be doing. That's all there is to it. There's no question about that. And he's clear, like he only lent this truck driver the forklift to get in good with the old fella he had owned to be able to buy this land. But also, he didn't give a fuck. He didn't even know that he lent the. So you see, they think in these weird fucking ways. This is my problem. No one wants to fucking know anything about it. When there's money being made and there's something for everyone, that's like in the form of currency. This is the thing about money, and look at the thing like, how much money do you actually have? How much time do you actually have? How much money do you actually have available that you can do something with today? Because otherwise, if you can't get it, it's not really fucking money. You think it's an asset, it's probably a liability. Certainly is if it's causing any stress and tension in your body and your mind. So because of the gift that he gave me a few years ago, and the way he just cut off the power and water, it was the way that happened as well, just left me fucked. But it's also, I should have been totally self-sufficient, you know. It's because I had those comforts that then I started focusing my energy on other creative, artistic inventions and shit like that, instead of just making myself contained, totally self-sufficient, capture and generate my own water, deal with my own compost, generate fuel from the compost, from my toilet and from the compost, power and water and heat and gas, self-sufficient, even if I'm marooned here or anywhere. And I've never gotten around to doing that. Same as my fucking gas hot water. A real thing with gas, man, holy shit. So anyway, because of that gift, cutting off the power one day in a certain way, cutting off the water another day in a certain way, and then all the rest of it and not giving a fuck. I mean, thousands of dollars have given him and done for him, that's just given, and $500 come back one time, and let me use the forklift a couple of times. Other than that, the power and water I was paying for. But there's something to take even from the old thing, because I was going to say there's some things that weren't said and they could have been said, and that's what I'm being a change in the world that I want to see, so I fucking say it. Of course, there's problems for me though, but there is also something where I'm thinking about that is, it's better to just not fucking say it sometimes. Because either people will get hostile because they can't understand where you're at, or they'll be maybe like me where they can't understand where you're at, or they'll be like, yeah, okay, because I'll be like, yeah, I hear that, that's how the thing is in the world, but I'm not going to fucking be like that because I refuse to live in a world like that, so I'm making it a better place today. Otherwise I don't want to live in it tomorrow. I've got children. I would make this world a better fucking place. And then also John talks about, you know, like we're human beings, we have art for a reason, so we got to like make this thing like, I was here in this cosmos, I was alive, otherwise what's the fucking point? I am that I am is all that it is. And then he takes it back to I am. Think about that. God, look at my face, I'm fucking worn out. So yeah, I'll get that across to him, I'll see him one time. I won't allow too much of my time to be spent with it. But I'll say, you know, I recognise some things from the past and the way things happened, and what I get from it is that you actually have a lot more integrity of character than most other people that I've just had this fucking massive epiphany about. And I really value that in you. I value that in people, and I see it right here in a person in front of me. And also, I recognise that there's probably a few things that I didn't pick up on that you probably were trying to teach me in a few different ways, pretty blatantly. And then it comes to a point, also the power and water, if something went wrong here, you know, like welding or some fucking thing, there's a fire and it doesn't, like, whatever, it's his liability. So there's the thing. If I was to drown in the water somehow, his liability. So there's another thing. And also, like, big thing, if you're using someone else's shit, go to extra effort to make it look like it is being looked after, like it's a fucking Porsche or a Ferrari. Because regardless where they leave it out in the paddock, they can see all different kinds. They just might see a speck of fucking mud on it and think you're not looking after it, even though it's in the garage. So treat it as though it's a Porsche, the way I saw this guy detailing a Porsche. And I drove into this place the other day and I saw this Porsche being detailed, and it was funny, I said to the dogs, like, I always thought that I think I said to myself, I always thought that I'd be driving one of them by now. And then I said to the dogs, how would that be if you were co-pilot in that with me, Elvis? And then I got out and I said that to the dude. Talked to him for 5 minutes. Turns out it's not his car. It's just his mate's car. He's detailing it for a couple $100. Yeah. It's a hobby. Who details cars for a fucking hobby? There's a lot of effort that I do not like doing. That kind of effort, you know, but there's something maybe I can get that. Okay, so my spirit feels lighter. My headache feels a lot clearer. I had to go through a certain process, didn't I, before I found this fucking healing tree right there. Oh my God. That was instant relief. And the other thing I didn't end up saying, you know, if somebody came here and they asked me all these questions, then it would leave that stress in my head. There are people out there that, unless I tell them that, they think I'm touring around the country, still doing all these little festival things. Still, like, the thing, I'm still doing festivals, and that I am doing the thing that I said I was going to be doing, going to regional areas and putting on a showcasing festival where all the local artists or whatever can come. I'll put on a bit of an event. Everybody come down who's in the community, have some food and art, meditation, qigong and workshops and circus and that kind of stuff. So engage everybody in something, and then put on some music, and then whatever art anyone does in the area, they come and showcase it for free. And we'll make a professional portfolio or presentation of that and give it to you on a USB. That's your proprietary content that you own all the rights to. And go and do whatever with that. It'll certainly be a good enough start for you to get out there and be Elton John, be something like Elton John, if you want to follow up. Sorry, the person, if you're watching this, that person, I just realised the AE lock after an hour. I think I was using it actually for the contrast with this one. I do apologise. I know the camera works fucking terrible. And I trust that no one's really watching this anyway. But if I was to get struck by lightning and it actually killed me, well, I mean, if I was actually get struck by lightning, because I've been almost struck by lightning quite a few times. Never worried though. Twice has been like, ooh, that was a bit close. One time I felt in my ass cheeks clenched up, as well as the back of my head, the hair stands up, but knew it wasn't my time. Now let's say that did happen. This would exist, and civilization still existed. This would exist on the internet, and my children might one day want to look at this. And there's a Bush Dragon Jim thing about parenting that goes 53 minutes that no one has ever watched. One day my children might watch that. So I'm transmuting this through art. Even the ordering and the stacking and packing is the art of living. It's given me something. That's what Feng Shui is all about. And I feel now where I could not deal with shit, I actually feel like I can deal with this shit a lot better, with a lot better potential than what I could possibly deal with. And also, it's a bit like video games and homework, you know, I don't have the will or the energy. I can't focus and do this. Well, you can, because you can sit there for an hour and a half playing a video game without getting a drink or going to the toilet and doing anything. So you can do your homework. And it's the same as this. And so the artistic contrast here, to finish it off, look at that. I don't know what that is. I think that's probably a windscreen warmer, is it? Look at this contrast. I think that's a windscreen warmer. That's how I did a big wire that gets hot. Went across, warmed the windscreen. Up there and up there. How about that? How about that? Don't make them like that anymore. I bet you that thing never fucked up. I bet you they never had a problem with it. It's lasted longer than the life of the vehicle. I bet you... Well, you'd be a fool to bet me, because I don't actually have anything to pay up. But I bet that even the best windscreen warmers they got out there now are not better than that simple cable that heats up. Would have had this electric conduit around it. It goes to this point. It's insulated off there so the heat remains here in the glass, as opposed to, or maybe heats that up a bit from the radiant heat, but the heat goes to the glass instead of the frame. And they'll probably be pumping out 24 volts to like 8 amps or something like that. That's pretty amazing. That's how my bus is done. And the fuses, they're just like, you can use a paperclip as a fuse. You can literally put a paperclip in as a fuse, and that'll burn out, and then it saves all the other electrics. And all those beaches, all those cars left on that beach, was it Dunkirk or wherever it was in France, where Germany was driving English into the sea, just managed to save 300,000 men. All the stuff they left on that beach, better than anything today. Okay, so I've got some meat that I was cooking for the dogs that I'm going to go serve to them now. I've got some meat I'm going to cook for myself, and then I'm going to eat that, and then give the dogs a little bit of that, and then serve the other meat to them, because we're doing specific training. I was supposed to go to one side of the city and train 2 dogs, and they're human, but then I was going to do that last night, but then the bitch is on season and she doesn't want to have more pups. And people make it difficult for themselves because they fixate on having to do things some insane, ridiculous way. And that wasn't really good. Those pups didn't get to go outside and touch the ground in the backyard until they're 5.5 weeks old. Do not comprehend, but I respect, and don't really have that much curiosity to work out why. I just, as long as the dogs, peace, harmony, grace, 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 grace. So I'm going to take my dogs to do this other engagement on the other side of the city, because that's a better engagement with my other dog, who I found in a cage by herself the other week, alone. I'm like, what is going on here? My only stipulation with these dogs these days is they are not to ever be left alone. So a bit of training to do with the dog, and then training to do with the respectful human who's a lot like me. See, if I had the will, if I had power and water and the ability, I had someone staying here for a bit, I would have people staying here and have a hub, whereas my friend who got a thing like this as an example. You can have a caretaker, you don't need to be landlord's bitch and all that, but no, you can't stay here. You got to go back to your own place or somewhere else to sleep, because 6 o'clock, the gate's shut, fuck off. And see, like, she's not interested in exposing herself to the risk of having to deal with people, especially ones that leave this fucking mess here. And he turned up there anyway, so I'll kind of save the day. So that's going to be good. It's going to be good to see her anyway. And so give the dogs a good engagement in some of the best terrain that I've ever known of in the city, to engage the dogs in hunting stimulation for tracking foxes and all that. And put out a prayer now that we don't actually see a fox and catch, because the foxes live there. Don't actually want the fox fight. There we go, there's the prayer. So we always put something out to the universe. So this land in Australia, you live on this land, you connect to this land. This is Wandering Jew. I'm throwing a food source away here. You get these ones here. They're the, where's the camera? Just the small ones, yeah. There's one up here, it's clear. Just want to be clean. Put it on salad like these ones here. See these ones? They're good. That size. Don't really want the other ones. That you thought the other ones are oxidized. Put them on salads, they're good. They do have a build-up toxin of silica, but you have to eat a fucking lot of it to get that. Mother-in-law's tongue. Gazetted weed, Brisbane City Council. That's what they got it growing in the Brunswick Street Mall. In big pots. It's in the space stations. Because look at me, look how. See that is phlegm. You see that? You see my eyes? That heaviness? That is phlegm. Anyone you see like that, they are burdened with phlegm that is in their body, and the pressure that it is putting on their brain and their nervous system, their body, to try and deal with this shit that they're dealing with, while they've got this fucking headache that's running through their entire body. And make no mistake, someone's got that look, that headache is running through their spirit too. It's called hun. It's a spiritual component of the liver. The liver is where the organ is housed in the body. And hun's a bit like this, actually. It's like the Imperial Guard. It takes the mind from the head to the heart, which is the bedroom, and puts it to sleep in the blood. Tucks it in and then closes the door of the bedroom and then stands guard all night. So that's why feng shui, they say, there's some link to saying don't have a mirror in your bedroom, because the hun comes out, expands outside the body to put this protective field around, sees itself in the mirror and gets scared away, and that's why you have that disturbed sleep. Someone there, someone there, someone there, someone there, someone there. I kind of get that anyway, you know, because I have these incredibly sophisticated unmanned air vehicles fly inside my bus, which the doors always open there for the dogs, and they fly around and kind of like wake up, or not quite asleep, and just see it come in. It's like this, movement like that here and there, and you turn your focus on it because it's a primal thing. Then it's like whatever happens, it disappears and the light comes on. But if you don't move, then it comes up and it's just like becomes quite apparent that there's something there, and it just scans you with all this stuff and then looks around. And then dogs become aware of it, and off they fucking go. Yeah. I do have mirrors around the bed too. So, sharing that plan gives me some clarity to deal with this shit. See, look at it. Just look at it. How much energy did I have to talk about all that shit? That time has been allocated. I mean, I've just spent fucking 2.5 hours talking to this fucking screen. Not talking to myself, talking to the world, but then talking to myself, basically. Getting a reflection point of myself. What if I had been able to devote that time and energy and consciousness to putting this shit in that trailer that I borrowed. Oh, there's all like blankets and fucking laundry and stuff that I totally forget about. Every time I go to do that, I get interrupted with something else that now I fucking forgot about 3 times. That shit's just got to go as landfill. There's like good blankets, and fortunately I'm not attached to it, but it's good stuff like clinic and no, it's not really much clinic stuff except those. Anyway, it doesn't fucking matter. There's boxes and boxes of that shit, and then I got contacts in charity shops as well, so I can get this shit for free. Not like there's not already fucking way too much of it. See, that bus there's a tiny home concept, and the clinic that's been filled with shit by this fucking madman. No wonder I can't deal with this shit. What's going to happen now, instead of dealing with this shit, I'm going to go and cook this meat that I don't have cold storage for, and I got last night. That was $15 cheaper than what it was, so it needs to be eaten. That won't take too long because I eat it rare. And I will eat it in front of the dogs and not give them the slightest bit. Then I'll give them a little bit of that at the end, or maybe then I'll feed them the chicken that I've got for them, and then I might give them a little bit of the rump each, because the alpha male eats first. Got this primal thing about food, they're eating bones and stuff. They've got this whole thing and all their politics and everything going on. This guy is the boss. Look at this place. Right, so that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to do some discipline training here, like just make them sit and stay just a few times, like probably get my magic stick out, which is the end of a fishing rod that's broken. It's got the loops in it, and then the end's broken off, so it's got like extra flick. It whistles as it flicks through the air over their heads, makes sound that I can't hear. Anyway, they know I'm in business. And then they'll sit, just let them know. And it's also for these puppies that have not had really any discipline training whatsoever, because I've got a bit of a different approach for them. They're different personality plus different stuff I've been going through. And I've always liked to be like that with puppies anyway, but there's a time when it comes to like they need to fucking do what you say. And they're getting to that point now. Probably a little bit overdue, but I'll do it the right way, so I'll do it today. Do that before I leave here. Then I'm going to drive to this place where one of my pups is and train that pup with my dogs. So that pup, she was born on the 10th of January, it's the 4th of July today. That's not really working out the way that I assumed it would be. Careful of assuming. Because she had a 15-year-old Dachshund Jack Russell. I figured she'd get it, but she's got these weird, I don't know, this weird old person way of doing things. What the hell are you doing it that way for? Was that because you like hit at school or something? Most probably was, yeah? So, okay, we can work with that, no worries, cool. This is what we do. And then she said this thing like it's, you know, PTSD. She said some ongoing, whatever it was. I'm going to ask the term, because basically, because I say there's no such thing as PTSD, right? If it's still current, if you still got it, then it's not post at all. It's still current, and you still fucking got it. She said something like it's an ongoing trauma thing or something that she got through with life. Whatever it was, I'm going to ask about that and get that logged in my brain. Then I shall return here and drop off all the boy dogs and take the girl dogs to the other 2 girl dogs, which one of them is on season. with my good friend who's done so much for me with the dogs, but she's still not fucking getting it, like in some things. And I've seen, like, she's seen me where I'm at, and she's sort of appreciated these little things, and I've seen where she's at, and I've done so much for her, but she doesn't even fucking see and appreciate probably 70% of it. So it's a wasted energy. And then even with the hindsight, normally when people suddenly realise what you've been doing for them, she still didn't even fucking see it. And then she said something to like, why don't you look after yourself, mister? I'm like, well, the work that I do and who I am and all that means that I look after myself by looking after everybody else, and then it all flows and thrives, you know. I get my money by looking after people. I get my life force energy if I'm looking after people. Anyway, so I'm going to take the bitches over there and do training there with them. So those dogs get stimulation, and then there will be a full girl vibe. I'll be able to reach that girl, human, in a particular way and get this across to her. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. That is the best plan that I've come up with, that is actually expansive and enlivening and not causing a stress response in my nervous system and brain, that I've come up with for a long time. And I'm going to action that now. Start with nourishing yourself. And by the way, you know, I feel good from having that extra fast. You know, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Quite often it's the only important meal of the day. So I'm starting with a rump today. And salt, olive oil, maybe a bit of onion, and then I'll have potato cooking in there that'll be ready to eat before I leave, because I'll feed the dogs their food after I eat. May God be with you.